All right. Good morning, everybody. Um, I just got to ask a question, right? How many times do people have to be shown a script before they understand how the story is going to end? We've been here several times before, right? And I don't know, is it me or are some people just naive? Is it cognitive dissonance? Or I don't know. I just don't know, right? The old saying, there's a sucker born every minute. And again, this is what it is, right? This fight, Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, is what it is. Anyone going into this that wasn't the least bit skeptical of how this was going to play out, anyone who didn't envision what happened last night happening, I really don't know what to tell you. I, I actually want to show you a text that one of my friends sent me yesterday morning at about 8 o'clock, and you can see the time on it and everything. And I don't think there's another person that called me, Brian, who calls into the Ringside Reporter podcast regularly on Sundays from time to time. He asked me the same question, and we had the same conversation. So I'm just going to show you this text, right? So my friend texts me at 8:07 a.m. in the morning, and he says, "Is this Jake fight real?" Right? And I said, "I want to say it is, but I'm kind of 50-50 on it, to be honest. I have a hard time believing that Joshua is going to go all out on him. Floyd carried Floyd carried McGregor, I believe, for a little while before he knocked him out. I got a feeling Joshua may do the same thing. The over under is 2.5. I don't think the over is a bad bet. My official prediction is AJKO4. So I was wrong in my prediction, but I did advise people to take the over. And interestingly enough, the fight opened at 2.5 rounds for the over. And right up until fight time, it actually changed to 3.5 rounds. So you kind of figure it out, right? Tell me what you think about that. So, again, we're all human beings, right? Fighters are human beings too. And let's just look at it from a objective standpoint, right? We're all built in with hormonal defense mechanisms in our bodies, right? We all have a way that we perceive threat, danger, and we all process it in different ways, but we do have similarities. Like if you're in a supermarket and there's a guy 6'6", 240 pounds, heavily muscled that bumps into you and says, "Hey man, what's up? Fuck's going on here? I'm gonna fuck you up." You're gonna react, in a fearful way, or in a way where you're like, "Damn, this is a problem," right? Whereas opposed to if a 5'8", 145-pound guy bumps into you, kind of skinny, and he says the same thing, instinctively you're not going to react the same way. Now, am I in Anthony Joshua's head? Am I in these fighters' heads? Am I a sports psychologist? No. But it's hard to believe that Anthony Joshua went into this fight with the same perceived threat thought process that he had against someone like, say, Alexander Usyk or Daniel Dubois. He's not going to go in there with that same perceived threat in his mind that he went into this fight last night with Jake Paul. So that, in my opinion, when you got a high level fighter like Anthony Joshua, who's been fighting top level guys who are very dangerous, they got to kind of work this out in their head when they're going into a fight, with all due respect, against someone like Jake Paul, right? So the notion that he truly believed Jake Paul was a threat, I mean, I don't personally believe that, but again, I'm not in his head. But let's park that to the side. Well, if Anthony Joshua doesn't go in there and knock him out in 1 or 2 rounds, there's something up, right? That's what a lot of people said. And I guess we got to be careful now, because Jake Paul put out the word that if anyone questions his fights, then they're going to be faced with legal action. All right, I don't know. I kind of fly under the radar. I'm not a big channel. I don't think Jake Paul would go after someone like me, but let's just say this: I don't believe Joshua went into this fight, right, thinking this fight was a threat. I don't think Joshua went into this fight with the intent of going in there and blowing out Jake Paul. I don't think he approached this fight the same way he approached the fight with Francis Ngannou, even because Francis Ngannou is a big guy. I thought he beat Tyson Fury in that fight. And there was danger against Francis Ngannou if he was going to decide to let him hang around. So I do think Joshua did not go 100% hard on Jake Paul last night. That's just what I believe. You don't have to believe it if you don't want to. That's just what I believe, and I didn't expect him to. And a lot of people did, and I was vocal about disagreeing with those people. Am I going to insult those people? No, but I am going to question. Like I said at the beginning of the video, we've seen this script before 1,000 times. We should know, or at least understand, how the story is going to end. And it pretty much did end similar, not exactly, but similar to how I thought it would. Doesn't make me smarter than anyone. It just, I don't know, just makes me, I think, accept the reality of the situation. So to get angry about it, looking at people like Lou DiBella going online, and I'm like, bro, you can't look at these events in the same way that you look at an event like Crawford versus Canelo. This is basically WWE style sports entertainment. Okay? And I keep telling people, just look at it from that perspective, and you're not going to be upset. The fact that people are getting upset about this, you hear people actually breaking it down like it was like some, like it was like some. Again, I don't want to get in trouble here, but people were breaking it down as if it was like Crawford Canelo, and again, it's not Crawford Canelo, right? So I did think that this fight was going to go rounds. I did think that Anthony Joshua was going to play with his food a little bit. Jake Paul supposedly broke his jaw in 2 places, so he says. But, there was no swelling. He was talking pretty fine. So, again, I don't know the severity of the injury. I'm not a doctor. I am not going to question it, but I am going to say that I am somewhat, skeptical of the degree of how bad that injury was. But regardless, I don't have a problem with it. And then people are like, oh, Jake Paul did, he's going to the floor. Again, that's more WWE, more WCW. You ever see like when Ric Flair, who was the heel in wrestling, a lot of times he dropped to his knees and he'd go like this, please don't hit me, please don't hit me. Like, again, it was all part of the show, in my opinion, right? So all of the outrage, all of, people criticizing this and that. Listen, both Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul are geniuses, in my opinion. They're geniuses. Okay? So I'm not angry. I don't have a problem with what I saw last night. And if any of you people out there and I say this with all due respect, I'm not trying to sound like an asshole or be condescending, but if any of you people didn't understand that this was an extremely high outcome, right? That this is what was going to happen, extremely likelihood of this outcome happening and having it play out like this. I did you honestly really think that he was going to go in there the same way he went in there with Ngannou, who was a 260-pound guy, 200 close to 270-pound guy, who just I thought beat Tyson Fury, who's much stronger, hits much harder, and with all due respect, he's a former champion, which Jake Paul was not. There's no way he was going to approach the fight the same way. Again, we all have our built-in defense mechanisms on how we perceive what a threat is and how our senses are heightened based upon what we see in front of us as a perceived threat. We're not gonna react the same way. If a poodle comes up to you and starts barking, you're not gonna your senses are not gonna be as heightened as if a Rottweiler terrier with drool coming out of his mouth and growling at you. You're not going to react the same way. It's just how we're built as human beings. I'm not a endocrinologist, but I mean it's a little bit of common sense there, right? So to sit there and think that there was a bit of concern or apprehension in Joshua last night, no, no. He knew he could beat this guy going 50, 60%. Probably, let's be fair and say he went about 60, about 60, 70% ish. Let's be fair and say he did that. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it because the flip side to that is, would you, if he goes in there and blows him out in a round or two, right? Then people would be like, damn, we stayed up all night waiting for this. So I think that what happened last night, in my opinion, was the best possible outcome. That's what I think, and I'm not mad at it, right? Because again, this was not Crawford versus Canelo for me, right? This was Floyd Mayweather versus the Big Show. That's what this was. That's how I looked at this. This was not Crawford Canelo. This was Floyd Mayweather versus the Big Show. And I don't mean that to insult the event. I was actually laughing. Like, I was watching the fight, and crazy enough, I just thought it was funny the way that the fight was playing out. I just thought it was hilarious, and I'm just seeing people on Twitter saying, "Oh, AJ's not that good of an actor," blah 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 blah. I don't know. He had a good amount of people who are actually looking at this fight like, "Wow, look at Jake Paul. He's actually going rounds here." Like, and again, there is a level of bravery. Um, I'm not saying Anthony Joshua did not hit Jake Paul. I'm not saying those punches did not hurt. I'm not definitely not saying that last punch did not hurt. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm probably going to get myself in trouble when you're throwing a punch, particularly a straight right hand like that. You punch through the target and you follow through. I don't even think that punch was 100%. But regardless, I don't want to get hit with 20% of what Joshua can do. Most people can't even take that. So even that wasn't 100%. And I'm going to give you a little cheat sheet here, guys, because this happened in the Tyson Jake Paul fight as well. Whenever you see a guy throwing punches from the outside like this, looping them and somewhat telegraphing them, you got to kind of understand what's going on there. All right. Again, I got to be careful here because, you know, I can get sued. I'm not saying I'm the richest guy in the world, but I do have decent amount I could lose, and I don't want to lose it. But my brother from across the pond, Hamad.
Yes, babe, man. I think this may be the first time in a while we maybe disagree a bit.
Okay, okay, that's fine. I mean, I welcome the disagreement, and
Not
You're
not major, not major though.
all
I
right.
don't think it's major because I think me and you see a lot of things similar. I
Can I
do
ask one
think.
question before I hate to interrupt you? Can I just ask
Go
one
on, go on.
legitimate question? Did
Yeah,
Joshua go 100% against this guy last night? Yes or no?
I think he did, but I think he couldn't. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold
Okay,
on.
I'm sorry. I
Hold on, hold on.
apologize. I'm very sorry. I apologize. I don't mean to be disrespectful. I'm
Outside round one, I'd say I'll concede round one. You know why? Because I thought his timing was so bad in the first four rounds. But people keep comparing him to the Nagano fight. That was 2 years ago, and Nagano stood right in front of him. He was also coming off a bad loss. He was 36. I think age is done. He should have retired after the Nagano fight. The only thing right now left is the money. They keep going on about legacy. That guy does not beat Kabayel. He does not beat Usyk. Moses Atama, I don't even think he beats Moses Atama. I would name about 4 or 5 heavyweights. I would pick Dubois in a rematch. The thing is, people keep saying that it was like it was fixed in the terms of AJ could have taken him out in the first 2 rounds. I think AJ maybe could have done a bit better in the first round, but from I believe round two onwards or end of round one, AJ was literally loading up and throwing like he was trying to knock him out. And to me, this is the same thing I was saying before the fight. AJ is a shell of himself. He looks like not the same fighter that fought Nagano, and he looks to be to me at the tail end of his career. The reason
okay. Okay. I I could possibly agree with everything you just said there.
he
But
was
with
coming
that
off a 15-month layoff, that may have
but
been
with
the
that
biggest.
being said, right? That fighter you just described still has the ability to knock out Jake Paul in 1 or 2 rounds. No?
But Jake Paul was also running for his life. How?
Yeah, but was
Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
oh.
This is what I don't understand about people. This is what I don't understand
All
about
right, go
people.
ahead.
You
Go
have a
ahead.
massive 22 by 22 feet ring.
Yeah,
AJ's coming off a long layoff. His
yeah,
timing looked way off in the first
yeah.
3 4 rounds. I actually even said beforehand, and I'm not doing Mr. Hindsight. I
Yeah,
said if this was the AJ that for Nagano, I agree. This fight shouldn't go more than 2 or 3
yeah.
rounds at the max. Maybe even you could say 1 or 2 rounds.
But could you even argue that it probably was still the age of that fought Ngannou
I don't think it was. I
because that
thought
age of that fought Ngannou still got knocked out in 5 rounds by Dubois, right?
yeah, but what I'm trying to say was he's diminished. He's always been flawed. The flaws are there, but in this fight, to me, he looks like he's diminished. He looks even more slower. He looked, I thought, a lot more slower, and it took him until round five. Now, look, there could be a couple of factors. There could be the fact that he was coming off a 15-month layoff. I said this before, so that's not an excuse. That's one of the reasons I think it took him so long to start timing. Also, I think his feet are quite slow, and he's become even slower on his feet. Regarding Ngannou Dubois, the whole thing, I thought Dubois was just a bad style matchup for him. I think Dubois may have even beaten him before. Like that's always going to be there. But at the same time, the guy that fought Nagano, I think back then could have competed with a lot of the top 10 or top 5 heavyweights. Right now, I don't know. Do you really think he could
All
beat
right,
or even
let me ask you a question. Help me out with this one
go on?
because I respect your opinion. Right? Can you name 5 heavyweights right now that are better than Anthony Joshua that are
If
active?
we include Tyson Fury, I think I can. I would say Daniel Dubois, who knocked him out. Usyk, who beat him twice. I think Usyk beats him a third time. Ajit Kabayel, that's 3. So who did I name? Usyk. I would say Usyk, Dubois, Ajit Kabayel, Tyson Fury. I would have to pick Fury based on that performance. I know people keep talking
All
about
right,
the
that's
Nagano
3.
fight, but
Give me two
Fury's
more.
and
Give me two more.
that's 4. 4. You said 5.
Oh, I'm
Why?
sorry. One more. I apologize.
All right, who did I mention? For Fury, I would have to. I would also have to pick. I would probably go Moses Atama. I was gonna say Hergovic, but I think Moses Atama right now. I think AJ won't take that fight, but I would keep AJ away from Moses Atama.
Okay. You think possibly Moses Atamu, right? But are you like what percentage wise would you give Moses Atamu to beat Anthony Joshua?
I would say Moses is like a 70-30 favorite.
Okay.
Hatman was saying Moses would have won before the Dilla White fight. I was thinking he's crazy, but right now I
In,
understand why.
in my opinion, I think it's safe. It's fair to
Wardley was the one I mentioned.
yeah.
That maybe Wardley, I would say instead of Atama. Who is that? Timmy? I agree. That's
I,
the guy. I
again,
forgot about Wardley. I forgot
I'm not
about.
100% sure Wardley beats Joshua based off of the Parker fight. And again, I love what he did in the Parker fight, but he was losing that fight.
If I'm just saying, if Joshua tries coming forward on Wardley and the same right hands Jake Paul and Dubois landed, I think Wardley can knock him out.
I'm
I,
not.
I think AJ's punch resistance has got like people said he took the Jake Paul fight, Jake Paul's punch. Did you see one of the right hand that hit AJ? Sweat went flying, and that's a guy who's not even a natural heavyweight. So I would say Wardley more. With the time, I need to see a bit more. So right now, I would pick Wardley, but
Well,
I wouldn't say like Wardley's a heavy favorite. I
okay.
would probably say Wardley's like 60-40.
Okay. So, um, here's my opinion. Usyk definitely, I think, would beat Joshua. Dubois, you made some good points there. Good style matchup. Yeah, like you'd have to favor Dubois. So it's safe to say that Dubois would beat Joshua,
Dubois
right?
has already beaten him. Two of
Yeah,
them have
that's what I'm saying. He already beat him, right? I said that.
two of them there.
So that's two definite. Well, you could say two that you would heavily favor over would be heavy favorites over Joshua, right? I think there's enough circumstantial evidence to support those arguments, right? But after that,
Kabayel, I would say Kabayel's like a
okay,
80-20.
Caballero
80-20.
is he's
If if Zhang couldn't put Kabayel away, this
okay,
AJ,
but
AJ
Zhang put Caballero down. You
But I'm
know,
saying Zhang is a much bigger puncher than AJ, and AJ turned
I don't think that.
I think he is.
Oh no,
You know why I think that? You know why I
Anthony
think he?
Joshua.
Hold on. You
Let
know
me
why
just
I
say
think
this. Let
he
me just say
dropped.
this. Anthony Joshua, in my opinion, arguably is still right up there with the hardest punchers in the heavyweight division.
One of them, but Caballel dropped Parker twice. He knocked out Wilder, and I was at the Parker AJ fight. I don't know, man. I just think Caballel would beat him.
Caballero didn't fight Parker, did he?
No. I'm saying Zhang dropped Parker twice,
Oh, okay.
and he dropped Caballel. AJ
Yeah.
didn't come close to dropping Parker. I know Styles make fights and all
He's
that.
got power in both hands. Zhang's.
Zhang's got power in both hands. That's what I'm trying to
You
say.
think so?
So yeah, so that the fact that
Okay, you can make an
Caballel
argument.
got
I
dropped.
think he's more of a straight left guy, but go ahead.
No, but the fact that Caballel got dropped by him, I don't think it's a shame. To me, that was impressive. The fact that he got dropped by such a behemoth man who had knocked out Joe Joyce twice, knocked out Wilder, and he got back up and he stopped him in 5 rounds. I would heavily favor Caballel. I think Caballel's the only guy that
We'd
could
probably pick Caballero too, but I would say it's like a.
heavy. I would say heavy. You know why I say
I
heavy?
would call it a 60.
AJ,
I would call it a 60-40 fight because
I think that's too close. I would say at least 70-30. You know why? Because AJ was offered the fight. I don't know if it's Eddie Hearn or Frank Warren. They could have, Caballel and AJ could have fought. I can't remember when, but they were not going to put him in with Caballel. This was before the whole Jake Paul debacle.
this shouldn't matter, and this shouldn't mean anything. But when you look at AJ, man, this guy comes right out of Central Casting. Like
Yeah,
he really is.
he should. If he was American, like you could have made something.
This guy, I thought, and this is just my opinion, I thought he did a phenomenal job promoting this fight, and I think he's a marketing genius. I really think he is. I thought it was cool the way he was interacting with the fans all week and even after the fight. Um, I just think this guy is just marketing gold, right? And because of that, right, people just want to see this guy. People get behind this. Like he has a ton. It's like Ricky. He has the Ricky Hatton effect. Doesn't matter if he wins or loses. People get behind the guy. They love the guy, and they just want him. They want to watch him fight. Doesn't matter,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's what I kind
We
of.
don't have those
I
types of figures in America. Like we're like really tough on our athletes. You guys aren't really tough on your athletes. You more or less resonate with these guys on a personal level, which on a much lower level, we don't do that, right? If you don't win, they'll throw you out
Boxing
quick.
is not big though in America, if we're being honest, as it was as well. That's
Yeah, but
also
I'm
a
just
fact.
I'm just saying, even if boxing was big, like it used to be, judged by other sports, as soon as someone like even Jordan at the height of his athletic career, people would like, oh, well, they try to like take shots at him. Oh, they're gambling this and that. Oh, he's a he's this, he's that, he's horrible to his teammates. Like people would always try to find ways to tear down Jordan, and that was the best basketball player of all time. So we're just tougher on our athletes, from what I see, than the UK is on the ears. I think it's
Yeah,
quite.
can I just address? Someone said AJK is Zhang. Yeah, I didn't mention Zhang. I said
I think
Kabayel.
AJ beats Zhang. I think
No,
AJ
no,
beats
but
Zhang.
I never said Zhang would beat him. That
I
that
think
was
I think
not one of
AJ
the.
still beats Parker.
I mean, he already beat Parker, and if people think he beat Zhang, I'm not going to argue because he has, I think, beaten Zhang as an amateur, and Zhang is 42. He also would be fighting someone who's a lot, I believe, slower. So I never mentioned Zhang, but I do think Kabayel would beat him, and the guys that all mentioned. The only one I would probably flip is between Wardley and Atama. I think Atama's got the style. Wardley's got the experience at this level. Like he has actually beaten a guy like Joseph Parker, who's a top five heavyweight. So with Atama, we need to see a bit more. But the thing with Joshua is, look, I did say something that I think maybe I could take back. I did say he may need to retire after the Fury payday. But if he sticks around and fights these guys, yeah, I mean, they'd be entertaining fights. I still would like to
Listen,
see him and Wilder fight, him and Fury fight. And I wouldn't mind if he sticks around to fight guys like Hergovic, Zhang, Kabayel, all these guys. The only problem is, I don't think he'll be a champion again unless they like, scatter all the belts. They become all, fragmented. And at that point, maybe picks up some sort of vacant belt or a regular belt. Like I think because Gassiev's got a regular WBF,
yeah.
but I don't think he's ever gonna be the top guy. He could prove me wrong, but if he goes in and wins that tune up and then knocks out Tyson Fury, because I think even a win over this region of Fury, that would be, especially a stoppage, would be like a statement considering where they both are in their career. But I just don't know. I'd have to see a bit more from AG, and I'd have to see Fury maybe look really bad in his next fight to have any confidence. I just think is one
I don't
thing.
have a lot of confidence in Fury, and I'll tell you why. And then he's my cousin, and I still don't have a ton of confidence in the guy because I just don't know where his desire and his head and his heart are at. The way he balloons up in weight in between fights, I was very disappointed in Tyson Fury coming into that second Usyk fight, weighing what over 280 pounds, I think it was. I thought he looked really heavy. I thought he looked really out of shape. And I thought he did better in the first fight than he did in the second fight. Everyone's like, oh, he did better in the second fight. Why? Because he didn't get hurt as bad as he did in the first fight. I gave him 6 rounds in the first fight. I had that fight I had Usyk winning that first fight by a point. I thought that first
Yeah,
fight was very close.
on rewatch, I think the first fight you could have given Fury like 5 rounds, legitimately. I
Easily
think
5 rounds.
Yeah, I thought on rewatch you easily won about 4 rounds, or you could go five.
I gave
I,
him 6, but
yeah,
I'm
I
not. I
don't. I
don't.
don't think he won 6 rounds when I
All right.
rewatched it. If I'm being honest, like, because
Yeah.
to me, I think Usyk clearly won about 7 or 8 rounds.
That's
That's
fair. I
the
mean,
that's the
I'm not. I'm
ballpark.
not going to argue with you about
But
it.
I
But
agree with you. The first fight was a lot
wait.
closer. The rematch was like a 9-3 fight. Some people had that like 10-2.
I
Like
had it
that.
8. I had the rematch 8-4, but maybe
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was even.
8-4. eight
Maybe
four is the
I was
eight
even
four is
being.
the
Maybe I was being too generous to Fury because
No,
he's
no,
my
8-4 is
cousin.
the
But
closest. I had the 8-4 as well on rewatch.
yeah,
But if I was to pick the right scorecard, I think 9-3 because I gave Fury round 10, but I don't think he really won round 10. I thought he won round 1, round 5, and round 9.
yeah,
The round 1 I couldn't give Usyk because Usyk literally I don't think done much in that work. Like people, I hate when people rebuttal and they bring up punch stats. I don't need to look at punch stats to
yeah.
judge a round. But round 5 and round 9 are
Let
Fury's
me
rounds.
let me interrupt you real quick and just
Go on.
read this super chat. I said, "How? What's this guy's name? Recatraf says, how can I join the panel? I just dropped the link in there, and you can click the link and just jump right on. All right, Raphael. What's going on, buddy?
That was me. It's just
Oh,
that YouTube for some reason it reads off the handle before it used to read my name.
yeah. YouTube is quirky, but yeah. Let me ask you, I don't know if you watched my opening here, but anything I said or that you heard, was I wrong
I
about anything?
I don't think I heard the opening. I just saw
Well,
you
let me
guys
let me kind
talking
of give
one
you a
at a time.
brief recap, okay? I think Joshua was operating last night off of about 70%. Am I wrong?
Probably. I mean, he didn't have a full training camp, and I would say
This
that
is fun.
you wouldn't really take Jake Paul as serious to have a really full training camp anyway. So
What do you
you can.
think? What do you think of this? We're all built with hormonal defense mechanisms, right? And we react differently to what is perceived as a threat. And I use the example of if you're in a supermarket line and a 6'6", 240-pound, heavily muscled guy bumps into you and says, "Hey man, I'm gonna fuck you up." You're gonna react a little bit differently than you would if a 5'7", 138-pound guy bumps into you. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, 100%.
So I think fighters are the same in that regard. Like you could sit there and say, "Well, I treat everyone the same," but I don't think it's. I think subconsciously, I just don't think that's humanly possible. Really, I think you have to sometimes make a concerted effort to work yourself up for certain guys because they're just not your body. You just don't perceive them as the same level of a threat. There's no way that Joshua is going to go into that fight mentally like he did against Usyk the same way he went in there against Paul. It's just not. I just don't think it's humanly possible for someone to do that. That's just my opinion. I'm not a
Yeah, but
doctor,
Beeb, this is where I
psychologist.
disagree. There's a different
But,
circumstances
all right.
because he was coming off a bad loss, a long inactivity spell. He had a new trainer, I believe. Do I think he took Jake Paul as seriously after the first round when he saw Jake Paul didn't have much? Yeah, I agree on that aspect. But going into the fight, when the bell rang, I think he approached the fight pretty much technically the same way he does. It's just he couldn't do certain things in the early rounds. I'll
Can I
give you
ask
an
you a
echo.
question?
Go on.
Did you did you grow up in a household with both your parents?
Yeah, yeah,
Let me ask you this: were you more afraid of getting hit by your mom or your dad?
yeah. I know where you're going. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
I'm just
that,
asking you. Were you more
yeah, yeah.
afraid of getting hit by your dad or than your mom?
Obviously, the dad didn't.
So I mean, that's
No, but I agree with
for
that.
Anthony
But
Joshua.
he
Would you
did.
rather be hit by? Would you rather be fighting? Do you think Usyk is more dangerous than Jake Paul, or Jake Paul is more dangerous than Usyk?
Obviously, Usyk's more there.
So
But do you?
subconsciously, your
But,
brain is not going to be as heightened to the
but
danger as it would be if you were in there with a guy like Usyk.
No, but what I'm trying to say is when the fight started, if round one you want to exit out, round two on, I thought he was trying to knock his head out.
Yeah, I don't think.
What was very alarming was there was no jab, his body work was non-existent, and he
Why
was
do you
just
think?
swing. Yeah,
Why
but
do you
because
think?
he's always been flawed. I was at the Carlos
He's
Taka fight. Hold on. I was at the Carlos Taka fight. I was at the Joseph Parker fight. I thought his feet looked bad then. His feet looked even worse. And maybe maybe the inactivity spell, maybe the loss, maybe
all
there's
right.
other
So you know
reasons.
what? You know what? I got to give Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua even more credit than I did because they convinced you guys.
Well,
That's
look.
great. Good
Well,
job
look.
on them. Then they did their
Let,
job.
let me let me let me just say something.
They did their job. Shout
I
out to
think
them, I
it's
guess.
I think it's very difficult to fight any other way or any different way, considering the fact that you have someone else across from you that doesn't want to engage. And
That's a big factor.
Yeah, but
I think
is it
you guys
fair to
may
say though?
disagree with
Is it fair to
we.
say that let's just put it this way? Uh, Obviously, we're not pro fighters, but let's just try to hypothetically step inside their bodies and their minds for a second. Who is more of a threat? Would you think Jake Paul or Francis Ngannou?
Ngannou.
Way more, right?
Ngannou, but that fight was 2 years
Yeah.
ago.
So
Like
so
people,
when you're going in there as a human being, your mentality is going to be different fighting Ngannou than it is going to be fighting Jake Paul. You
Yeah,
know,
but
Singareco.
you
you
know
can't.
that
But you can't compare the two just because Ngannou actually stood up in front of him, trying to box him and trying to actually engage. Jake wasn't trying to do that from the start, and I thought that was the right approach. I mean, if I'm fucking Jake, I'm not standing in front of this guy that's 6'6" and 250 plus pounds. Like I'm gonna run.
I
I don't
agree. I
really
agree.
care. I'm
But
not gonna stand
did
in front of this guy.
Ngannou?
but
Sorry,
let me ask you this though. Let
did
me ask you
Ngannou
this
try to
though.
box? He just stood there, like trying to get into
Can
a
I
shootout.
can I ask you
So
this? You didn't find it strange that Anthony Joshua didn't start throwing the right hand straight until like the fourth round. When he's on the outside
No, I didn't.
and he's looping, he's
You
throwing like
can't.
he's
You
basically
can't
going like
throw.
this, going like this, and then
he
he's going
wasn't
like
in range. I thought. I
Yeah,
thought he
you
wasn't in
can't.
range.
You're not even in range. You can't even reach him.
so why you so if you can't reach him, why are you throwing a looping shot, making it even harder to reach him?
No, because
The short,
Jake Paul was in this.
the quickest way to somebody is from point A to point B is a straight line. He's throwing looping shots from the outside, telegraphing them.
But that's where the jab comes into play. Why wasn't the jab there to set up like Joshua? And this is not to do with the Jake Paul fight.
When has he ever gone into a fight and not throwing jabs? Like he
Yeah, in the
always
Klitsch,
throws
I thought
jabs.
in the Klitschko fight his jab was non-existent. I listen. I got maybe a fallback, but I said this years ago. Out of AJ Wilder and Fury, the guy who may have the worst jab is AJ because
So you
he
guys
neglects his
honestly
jab.
believe. I'm sorry. You guys honestly believe that Anthony Joshua went at him last night.
He was swinging
100
from the early rounds.
100%.
I don't know what people are watching. But
You think that was
Yeah,
100%? You
I'm
think that
not.
was
I'm not.
Joshua 100%? Honestly,
So
let's do a poll in the chat.
so
Number
let
one,
me let
hold on,
let
hold
me
on,
ask
hold
you
on, hold
this.
on, hold on, hold on. Number one, Joshua went full percent. Number two, Joshua did not go 100%. Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll in the chat.
how is every Jake Paul fight scripted? He wins, it's scripted. He loses. This is what I don't understand. Like the Mike Tyson fight apparently was scripted. I could understand to a degree because I thought Jake Paul kind of held back in that fight. And if you wanna argue for the sake of it, whatever, you don't think that was real, that's fine. But this fight, he got his jaw broken, and to me, from round 2 onwards, I think at the end of round 1, AJ's timing was off. I don't know what that noise is, but like to me, it was to do with inactivity. And I said this before. Um, could AJ have taken him lightly? That's possible, but AJ also didn't have a long training camp. He also was coming off a long inactivity spell and a bad loss. Like to me, I think he's at the point where he could really retire, and I wouldn't blame him because I don't think he's got that much left. Like he did not look like the same guy that beat Otto Wallin or Francis Ngannou or some of these other guys. And Jake Paul was extremely negative, but even when he was landing and hitting him, to me, like I just thought he looked a lot slower and a lot more predictable. Um, it's hard to say. Like, could this just be down to one fight? If he goes in there and maybe does something to Tyson Fury, maybe it was just the fact that he had been out the ring for so long. It's possible.
Well, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. You guys believe that was Joshua at 100%, going.
Well, he can't have been 100% because of the circumstances, like the factors I mentioned. But I do believe he tried to take his head off.
You believe you believe his effort was 100%, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
from round 2
Both
onwards.
of you, right?
Round two.
Both of you agree that Joshua's effort was at 100%.
I thought that's what I was.
Raf, is that your position too? Oh,
say that again.
Do you believe that Joshua's effort was at 100% last night?
I mean, I would say that he was trying to he was trying to knock him out probably
No,
from the
I'm saying,
beginning.
yes or no? Was that
That's what
100?
I thought.
Was that 100% effort from Joshua?
I'm not quite sure what the question is, because it seems to be that you're implying that the reason Jake got that far was because he was taking it easy on him, and I'm not in that position to
I can't say it like that
I'm
for
not in
legal.
that position at all.
I can't say it like openly like that for legal reasons, but um, you're close, I guess. uh, uh, Reese Lynn 25 says it wasn't 100%. Um, and yeah, he said it was 100%.
But what about in the end? Do you not think that right hand in the end when he knocked him out, was that not? He put everything in there.
That was about
Oh
75%.
my! This is this conspiracy theory.
I'm sorry. He didn't even follow through all the way, even with that right hand at the end.
He did punch him. Thing was in a, like, he was
Listen,
curved up. He was curved up with
if
his
Jake
elbow.
Paul hit any one of us at 30%, could he knock us out?
Probably,
Right?
you could say
I
that.
mean, not Jake Paul. I mean Anthony Joshua. If Anthony Joshua hit any one of us at 30%, he could still knock us out.
I think even Jake Paul, if Jake Paul was to hit us, Lawrence Okoli said inspired that Jake Paul was making him miss. Like this, look, I'm not saying Jake Paul is I don't think Jake Paul is a heavyweight. That was one thing. He did not really come to
Listen,
fight.
I love Jake Paul.
No,
I
but I'm
love
saying,
what I saw last night.
If it would have been
That was
up to
marketing
AJ,
G.
if it would have been up to AJ, he would have knocked him down within the first 30 seconds. I don't think AJ was trying to go in
My
there.
brother came in the room, right? He was here last night. He came in the room and he's watching me like smiling, laughing, and enjoying this fight. You know what he said to me?
Fight Doctor's a troll. Look, this guy just. I saw what I saw, and I saw other people say that. This dude has some of the worst takes that he's calling me. I just think AJ's washed, and I thought Jake Paul was extremely negative. Like, it's a bit of both.
My brother came into the room yesterday because he was around last night, right? And he was laughing at me, saying, "How the fuck are you enjoying this?" Like even he's like this is like the fucking WWE. That's what he said.
But it was a circus fight. It was a circus fight.
He goes like this. He goes, you're actually enjoying this joke of a fight. That's what he said to me. He's making fun of me.
Babe, this is what I will say. Look, I thought Mayweather carried McGregor. I thought in the first 4 rounds Mayweather was towing him. I did not get the same feeling.
How could you say that and not say the same thing here?
But hold on. Here's the difference. Let me finish, because you can't just cut people off. In that fight, Mayweather did not even really throw anything for the first 4 rounds. Was walking forward with his hands up and was he was smiling, laughing. And from round 4 on, there's a video on All Access clip where he says to his corner, "Let's end the show" or something, and he starts putting his foot on the gas. In this fight, to me, maybe I need to rewatch it. From round 2 on, Rafael said the same thing. AJ was trying to actually knock him out. Now, I don't know, maybe his timing was off, or maybe because of the way Jake Paul is fighting, it was hard to hit him. But I just saw that, and I saw other people agreeing with me. Like, from round 5 onwards, when Jake Paul started running, AJ was starting hitting him. Like, I just don't think that is a guy. That's a.
But you
like,
just said he threw no
hold
jabs.
on. I don't think that's.
You just said he threw no jabs. Because that should tell you right there he really wasn't looking to set anything up early on.
I thought he used to do that in his prime as well. I think he's just at the point.
All right.
Well, I said
we're not going to convince each other. I mean, that's just I get it, but
I mean, it was look. Don't get me wrong. It was a circus. I don't think that fight should have been sanctioned, because you had a guy who's really.
Do you think that was the best? Joshua gave the best effort possible last night.
In this circumstance, with the layoff, with how he is, with his new trainer and everything, no. But hold on, if Joshua that fought Francis Ngannou did that, then yeah, I would have been very curious, because of how he looked against Ngannou, how he was actually fighting against well-ranked opponents. I just think he's at the point where he's finished. Like, unless
Ahmed, you know what? I have so much respect for you as a human being, and you're a good friend of mine. I'm not going to push the issue any further, man. I can only just say what my opinion is.
I will try and rewatch. I'll try and.
My brother just said, "Who's he fighting next?" Ric Flair. Even he knows what it was.
I will try and I
Even
will
he
try
knows
and
what it was.
look. I'll try and rewatch the fight again because I would like to
Go
say
back and
maybe
watch it,
no,
please. Go
but
back and watch it again, please.
was AJ not swinging from the early get go? Like what was that then? So he
He
was
was this
he
again. When you're 10 feet away from somebody, you're not going to throw a wide looping punch.
But
That's
how are you gonna throw a straight punch when he's not in range? What? So you don't want him to throw at all?
what gets there quicker. What's when you throw a looping shot, you're actually not extending your
Yeah,
arm
but
fully. When
I
you throw a
understand.
straight shot, you're fully extending your. Let me ask you this, honestly: when you're reaching up for something on a high shelf, don't you reach up and extend yourself and reach straight, or do you pull have your hand come across your body from the side and try to get it?
But Jake Paul at certain times was
Come
going
on.
on the ropes. Fight Docs is the same guy that said Waldo would have beaten Usyk. Look, I'll try and rewatch it again, but I just think
Why you
I
gotta
think
keep
I
fight
think
dog, man? Why do you gotta?
AJ. Well, I mean, if you're gonna start trolling me, and I'm gonna
What
have
is
to
he? What
say
is he saying? What did
because
he say? What did he say? What is he
I don't
saying about
look.
you?
I'm just gonna say this. I
What,
think AJ is washed. I think AJ should probably retire. Like I don't think AJ would. I don't think AJ would beat a lot of the top five guys. Man, I'm just being honest. I'll try and rewatch the fight. I don't think Jake Paul is like anywhere near elite. I'm not saying any of that. I just think Joshua's declined and regressed so much, and I thought he should have retired after the Dubois fight. Like the fact that so many people still think this guy could beat everyone in the division apart from Usyk. I just find it a bit baffling. Like what
I'm
evidence
gonna
is
I'm
it?
gonna give you a little cheat sheet, right? Anytime you see a fighter who's 10 feet away from another fighter, and then he pulls his hand back and loops a shot, telegraphs it like that, just at least be a little skeptical
All right,
moving
all right.
moving
But
forward.
do
Okay,
you think
just be a little skeptical moving
do
forward.
you still think AJ would beat Wilder? Because I'm not sure. Like I think they're
Yes,
both
I do.
washed.
Yes, I do.
I think they're both washed.
Listen, I'm Tyson Fury's cousin. I don't even know if Tyson Fury beats him at this point.
What? Oh, so
I
is
don't
that
even. I don't even know if I legitimately don't even know if Tyson Fury beats him at this
what
point because
about
Tyson.
Dubois? What about Dubois and AJ then?
No, I
You
would pick
don't.
Dubois. I would pick Dubois right now.
Why though? You were saying earlier on that you're not like completely sure even if Dubois would beat him. You said
No,
you pick him.
I think Dubois would beat him. I do.
Yeah, yeah, but then why not guys like Caballel? Like
I'll
I'm
tell you
thinking.
why. I'll tell you why. Because Caballel is not as aggressive as Dubois. Doesn't punch as hard as Dubois, and Joshua could probably have a little bit of success on the outside against a guy like Caballel, who's more of a mid-range guy.
Yeah, but who has he beaten in the last? Let me go back. What was his last like good victory? If we were
Oh, he
to go,
hasn't had a big victory in a while. I'm not going to
but
argue.
that's what I'm saying.
You're right.
What?
You're
Where
right.
is
You're
all
right
this?
there. You're right there.
Where is all this confidence coming in? Like, say if this fight was completely scripted, and AJ decided to take his 6 rounds for 5 round, AJ was gonna let Jake Paul hit him, and is completely fixed. All that. I still have not seen anything from AJ. Like to me, even the Nagano fight, to me that was just perfect matchmaking. You fought a guy that I thought was never really a boxer, that Tyson Fury completely overlooked and was out of shape. And Fury fought a very bad fight. He was trying to fight with Nagano. Like, I think I need to see more. Look, maybe if he fights Fury and he could knock him out, I will change my mind. I, I just, I just think, look, I just think out of AJ Wilder and Fury, if Fury comes back and shows something, he's maybe the only one I think could maybe compete at the top level. Like I think AJ and Wilder are both, if I'm being honest, I think they're both really guys that should be retired.
Who do you
Like
think would
maybe
win, Fury or AJ?
at the moment I'd have to pick Fury, but I'm kind of with you in this sense, with the difference with the Caballel and other fights. Fury's mind, I don't know where it is. Fury, I don't think has ever really wanted this. Fury, to me, this is the big difference. Fury, if he has to fight him after the Wilder fights, I would have favored him, even though style-wise it's a different fight. I just don't know if Fury has ever wanted this fight. Like to me,
Well,
Fury
that's what
says
I'm saying. Like, if you're constantly retiring,
no, but he has pulled out so many times. He said one thing, done another.
you have to. My biggest problem with Fury, two things, is his conditioning and his desire. Those are two things I never have to question about Joshua, regardless of how the fight plays out with him. He's always in shape, and he always is like he's focused and wants to win the fight. Like he never goes into a fight not wanting to be there, in my opinion. Fury's when I looked at that Ngannou fight, it didn't even look like he wanted to be there. Didn't even look like he wanted to be there.
That's one thing, but also the Wilder fights. I don't know if he's the same after the Wilder fight. Wilder was a one-trick pony, a guy who just feasted on bums. The
Yeah, that's
only
another thing that I tend.
Wilder, the only guy Wilder beat was decent. Was maybe from a skill perspective, was Luis Ortiz, who himself
Yeah, Luis Ortiz was the best
was
opponent on it.
vastly overrated. Who had
He
actually
was behind on both times on the scorecard.
yeah,
Wow.
Luis Ortiz himself hadn't beaten anyone, but
Why?
I give Fury credit for beating him at the time because Waldo was still due to his accomplishment and how poor the division was. Waldo was still, and he was undefeated, still a top three, I believe, heavyweight. Those are the top three guys. But I'm saying from a style perspective, if Fury mentally is also knows something about this because I think they sparred years ago. Maybe AJ could beat him and knock him out. Maybe AJ has got that capability because I think Fury himself is also at the stage where he's seen better days. But at the moment, I would have to pick Fury because
Let
of
me see if I can find odds for Fury Joshua. If there's like odds posted already, I'm curious to see what the odds would be. Let me see. Keep talking. I'm just gonna look.
so.
Fury Joshua.
I need to see a bit more from Joshua. Like, if people want to say that fight's fixed fight, I thought the McGregor Mayweather fight was like a very, very, very bad advertisement. The fact that so many people thought
Well, it's
Mayweather.
close. Look at the odds here. Fury's a minus 200, and Joshua's a plus 160. That's close. Those are close odds right now.
Joshua's being more active now. If you take this fight, and
Yeah.
he'll have another fight. Fury is retired. By the time Fury, I think, comes back next year, it'll be like the same time AJ was out. But yeah, look, I would have to pick Fury, but I do think that's a fight. I think it would depend.
Fury will be favored, but I don't think he'll be a huge favorite.
Yeah, if Fury and Dubois don't fight the same as well, that's another thing. Fury doesn't hit as hard. Fury does a lot of things better, but
He's awkward,
like
yeah.
Fury gonna go in there gun ho? Like I don't think he's gonna do that. So I think AJ may have the ability to try and box with him and may have the chance to counter him. So I still kind of do want to kind of see that if they could do it. Like you said, you're not really that high on that fight, but
No, I don't care about the fight anymore because it's like, what is it for? And
it's
again,
still a big fight though.
no, it's a big fight for you guys. It's a big fight in the UK, but I don't think many Americans give a shit about it.
No, but I'm saying this is what I'm trying to say.
It'll do huge numbers. There's no doubt about it. It'll do huge numbers in the UK.
But it would still answer some questions about like I know AJ got knocked out, but
Legacy fight for AJ because he never fought any of the big three. Like he didn't fight
Yeah.
Wilder, he didn't fight Fury. He fought Usyk, obviously. So I mean, he did fight one of the big three, but he didn't fight two of the big three.
Yeah. Look, I think Wilder AJ is a fight that's completely dead. But look, if Usyk somehow is gonna give Wilder a title shot, then maybe I do think Joshua needs to fight these guys, man. You can't go
I
your
understand why Usyk wants that fight though, because
No, I know as well. But what I'm trying to say is, if Usyk is managed to do that, like managed to complete the last piece, like because he wanted to fight Parker, but Parker now lost, so he wants to give Wilder like that, fight Wilder, give the opportunity, and try and get his name. But what I'm trying to say, if Usyk is able to squeeze that in, then maybe Joshua needs to make these fights. Like I know they're gonna make the Fury fight, Turkey said, but Eddie Hearn has not been. To me, Eddie Hearn has not been that like keen on the Wilder fight. Like in the last year or two after Wilder lost, I know that fight kind of blew up. But if you have time for fights like this or another tune-up, like I'm sure that Wilder fight would still do better numbers than some of the other guys. Like once you fight Fury or get out the way, like because I just think who else is there for these guys to fight? Like if Fury fights Joshua could fight Wilder, those fights would still generate money. I don't think the Joshua Wilder fight is anywhere near as big as it was back in the back like a couple of years ago, 4-5 years ago, whatever. But I still think that would do still in this day and age decent numbers if you can maybe promote that. Like especially Wilder could win another fight. Joshua can maybe if Joshua was to say beat Fury or something like that.
even Eddie Hearn said that he doesn't think Joshua could beat Usyk. Like he openly said it in public. So I was a little surprised.
Joshua's already lost to Usyk twice, though.
No,
Why
I know,
would
but
he?
it's funny that he openly said it. You know what I mean? Like I understand that he probably most people would believe it, but I just found it odd. I've never heard him say publicly that Joshua could lose to anybody. Really, you know what I mean?
No, but I'm saying he's already lost to him twice. How could he? You got to be deluded to think at this rate.
You know how promoters always try to put a positive spin on things. You know,
No, but I'm saying after he got not wiped out by Dubois and Usyk
no,
has
you're right.
beaten.
I understand where you're coming from. I'm not disputing what you're saying. I'm just saying, you
Yeah,
know,
but Eddie Hearn said something with another fight. I can't remember, with one of his other fighters, where he was trying to say that he was trying to talk them up, but he knew deep down that they weren't gonna win. I can't remember which fighter it was. Like he actually, when he gives interviews with some of like these guys like Steve Bunce, he will actually be honest. But regarding Usyk, the first fight, maybe he could have talked him up, or even the second fight, because AJ did actually, slightly improve. But at this rate, I don't know how anyone like even AJ himself probably doesn't believe that he could like do anything with Usyk. Like the Dubois fight, I think ended anything. Even though Dubois and Usyk don't fight the same, but to me that just showed Joshua's level at the moment. I would say he's a top 10 heavyweight if you want to rank him based on the past accomplishments. But I think he's hanging by a thread. Like you've had one fight in 2 years, and that's a YouTuber. And the other fight was against an MMA guy who's 0-2. So, like, don't get me wrong. If he was to fight Fury, I think based on styles and the fact that, like you said, Fury balloons up and down, it would still probably be a fight which would depend on a lot of things. Like, is Fury still got the same motivation? If he comes back, is he still like looking as good as he was even in the first Usyk fight, or even you could argue maybe in the rematch? Because I still think due to how he fought in the rematch, he could probably still have beaten most of the top or majority of the top 10 guys. But I just don't know what to expect from Fury. Like at this stage, like if that happens at this moment, I would probably favor Fury. Would you still favor Fury, or you
yeah, you
disagree?
put a gun to my head, I'd pick Fury. I have to.
Yeah,
'Cause he's my cousin, obviously, but still, I think I think you don't. I think both. I think Joshua is somewhat faded, with all due respect.
Josh was very flawed as well. I know
Yeah,
Fury. People say Fury's flawed as well, and I agree that. But to me, Fury at his best, I think, is better than Joshua at his best. Would you
of
agree with that?
course, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, yeah. Because to me, Fury, skill wise, when he's at his best on his game, I see Fury looking a lot more effective. Like he could do things which I think Joshua can't. Like to me, Joshua looks too stiff, robotic, too slow.
Yeah,
Now that
he's not as fluid as Fury.
Yeah. Now that doesn't mean if they fight head to head that Fury will win like 10 times out of 10 times or 3 times. We got to see the fights in it, because that's what they
Problem with
fight to watch.
Fury is he gets hit. He gets hit with left hooks.
Fury. The problem is Fury's been down so many times, and against the same guys that AJ beats. Even though that's a triangle theory, but sometimes that can mean something. So I would like to see the fight, but I honestly think like. Three of these guys, at least two of them, they should be thinking about retirement. With Fury, he retires, then he comes back. So I don't know. Is he still waiting for a third Usyk fight? I'm not sure. Like
Yeah,
I
but
do.
my aggravation with the whole thing is they have these interim fights in between. Why not just go right at it? Because anything can happen in these interim fights, injuries, but they could
I
slip on the
agree. I
banana
agree.
peel.
While the
I hate
Joshua,
these. I hate these, and I was happy to hear Joshua say like he would rather just go right into it, but yes, it depends on what Fury. You know, Fury always needs like warm up fights. That's what I hate about like Fury too. That's another thing. Like he couldn't just go right into the Wild rematch. He had to have like these two tune up fights before he went into the Wild rematch. It's like
no,
I just,
no, I agree with that. But this time Fury will need at least a tune-up. But AJ, I think it's so bad. It's so bad the fact that they fought Jake Paul, and that was look. Whatever we take, whether we
That was a
agree.
great fight last night, though. On a scale of 1 to 10, for entertainment value, would you give that fight?
That was funny entertaining. But I'm saying whether we agree with it on face value or we say it was scripted or whatever people think, that was not a great performance or a great test. Like he didn't really learn anything or do anything.
But he wasn't
That's
really trying, though. I mean, come on.
well, no, but I'm saying it wasn't really. Yeah, it was. He didn't really needed to try in those rounds. Like he wasn't really pushed. Like Jake Paul was running. Even if we like say if we think it was like actual real whatever fight.
I'm
And
glad. I'm glad that fight played out the way it played out. I'm honest. I'm
I
glad.
called it, but I was so surprised.
Can I ask you a question? Who told everyone to take the over?
I don't know what your prediction was. I look on my timeline. I said if this was the same AJ Dafo Nagano,
You didn't
I
hear
would.
me say it last week. The
Nah, I
fight
missed the thing, man. I
it
missed
was
the
gonna
show.
go. It was gonna go past 3 rounds. You didn't hear me say that last week.
But I did. If you did, then we are on the same page. That's why I was a bit surprised that like your perspective is a bit different. But again, you probably disagree with me.
Why do you think my perspective was what it was? Because I didn't think he was going to go 100%.
But I thought this is not the same guy that fought Nagano. But this is what I will say regarding that
Jerry
whole
thought
thing.
it was a 50-50 fight. That guy's nuts.
Well, but all the Fury fans were hoping Jake Paul wins. This is what I would say. Regarding that fight, I don't think it was great though. If he's to go into a fight with Fury, that's not ideal preparation. That's the fact that it was a big money fight, like in terms of generating money and whatever. But he needs the actual. He needs the actual test. But I would agree with you. When AJ fought Otto Wallin and Wilder fought Joseph Parker, they should have just made the fight. Like now we missed out on
It's
that fight.
fucking crazy. Like,
Yeah,
why didn't
this
he
is what I was.
fight?
This is what I was trying to say. Why did we have to see?
Why doesn't Turkey Al Sheikh learn his lesson from these things?
He
Same
did
thing.
it again. Yeah, it
Same
did.
same thing from Ryan and Devin. They were supposed to do the Ryan Devin rematch, but once again they had to have interim fights.
I messed it up.
Devin didn't look great in his interim fight, and then Ryan loses his interim fight. So you blew that one. You
With
almost
that, I was
you
with
almost
that I
blew
was happy. You know what? I won't lie. With that, I was happy because of what Ryan Garcia did. The fact that PED test, the whole thing, I thought it was a bit unfair to chuck Devin Haney straight back in. So that I thought it was good. He kind of exposed him for the fact that he failed the drug test, and he kind of showed that coming in 3 pounds overweight and all that had an effect. So with that, I was happy. But with the Wilder AJ situation, I agree. Like Wilder had knocked out Helenius in 1 round. AJ had knocked out Helenius, and AJ didn't look good. After AJ Helenius, everyone, to my knowledge, back then was all saying that AJ is going to lose to Wilder. Like, Wilder, if Wilder catches him, this is over. Then, over that night, due to stalls and how that fight played out with the fight with Wilder and Parker, then everyone starts saying Wilder's washed. And I agree at that point. But then AJ, they were saying, then they start going over the top with AJ. They start saying he's rejuvenated. He's all of a sudden back to his best. He could beat Usyk in the third fight. They should have just made the fight back then. But maybe it's not to be.
can't even really get mad at these guys anymore because if the broadcasters are gonna give them fight dates and they're gonna pay rights fees and they're gonna broadcast these fights, you can't even really get mad at these guys like Wilder and Joshua for hanging around, right?
No, I don't.
Can't.
If
If the
Usyk
money is there, it's hard for them sometimes to turn it up.
that's one thing, and if Usyk is gonna give him a payday, and Wilder's even saying like Wilder just fought like the guy Wilder fought, you could argue was worse than Jake Paul. I think he actually was. Now, granted, Jake Paul is not a heavyweight or ranked as a heavyweight, but that Tyrell Herndon guy was awful. So the fact that based off that fight, he's gonna get a Usyk fight, and I'm not completely mad. I think Usyk could do anything he wants, but if he's gonna stick around with the belts, I would like to see him fight, if not Fabio Wardley, Ajit Kabayel, if not retire. Terence Crawford already retired. What did you think about that? Because I kind of wanted to see the Janivak fight, but I really just wanted to see him try and win a middleweight title because I thought not only is he good enough, I thought he had a couple of fights left. Like I thought, if the Canelo rematch was there, like I really didn't want to see it in a way, but I also kind of wanted to see it because I thought if he stopped Canelo, I just wanted to see the meltdown, like just on the Canelo fans.
Here's the thing with me, man, and I'm a hypocrite, right? Because I tell everyone you're not supposed to look at these things with a vested interest, right? And you got to be a fan. And your assessment is probably the correct assessment because you would say to yourself, at least probably do one or two more fights because you still have probably a little bit left in you. But Eddie Hearn made a great point. We don't know how his body feels physically. We don't know how if his body if it has the the little aches and pains, little
I think it's mental. What if
yeah
he's mentally checked out, like Andre
yeah
Ward after the Kovalev fight? If
yeah
if you get to that point where you say you climbed the mountain
yeah.
and nothing
That's
could
another thing
convince
too.
you,
Like Crawford saying to himself, "I finally achieved the pinnacle. Anything else is going to be a letdown." But from a fan's perspective, it would be fun seeing him go for another world title in a different weight class.
that's all I wanted. One more
Yeah,
fight, like.
and I'm
But
sure
I'm not.
there's
Look,
I'm
I'm
sure
not
the
mad
money
at.
is there. I'm sure that the money is there. Um, I think he's saying I'm a little surprised that he kind of shut down the Canelo rematch a little bit. I don't, but again, I don't know how much money is going to be put on the
But
table.
here's a synopsis I'll give you. The reason he probably retired was WBC what they did with the Undisputed. So the rematch would not have been for Undisputed. To me, that kind of
I don't
screwed
think
him
that
up.
I don't think that matters.
No, no, but I'm just saying.
I don't think that matters.
Also, Turkey wasn't willing to pay him what was willing to pay Canelo in the first fight. So, granted, with everything, like he probably thought in the rematch, I'm not gonna get a big like cut as I should earn with what I done. The WBC what they did, and then if he moves down a weight, would he really want to fight for the WBC title?
Well,
And
you heard what Steve Kim said, right?
Janabek, yeah, he quoted me, but that's what I was gonna say. So Janabek got busted. So those are two titles gone. He's not look. This is why I mentioned the WBC situation. If they did that to him at super middleweight, that kind of screwed up the rematch. I don't think he was gonna take that rematch if they've already messed him out to one title. So he moves
Yeah, I
down.
don't think he cares about the titles anymore. I
Yeah,
don't
but I'm saying, what is the incentive then? Because the Janabek fight was
money.
gonna be, yeah, but the Janabek fight was gonna be for the titles. That's
Yeah,
what
but
Steve Kim.
Janabek doesn't have the WBC belt.
Yeah, but that's Carlos Adames. So I'm saying Janabek. This is what I'm trying to say. Janabek is out the picture because of what happened, and then Carlos Adames got the WBC. So all that left was Lara, and if I'm being honest, I think the Lara fight would probably not pay him even a fraction of those fights with Canelo or even Janabek. So that's why I think he ended up retiring. Like to
I'm
move
happy with
down.
I'm happy with the decision. If I was him, I
I'm
probably
not
would.
mad. Like just hearing the Canelo fans crying and the Spence fans still going, I think it's kind of
Yeah, I
funny.
mean, again, at this point, we know what we know how it is with these with the tribalism, and people just can't look at things objectively. They just want to be part of a team. They want to be part of a cult, and yeah,
I agree, but it's good
and the
he
funny thing
went
is
out.
these people are fans of fighters
Yeah, they're not
who,
fans of the sport. But the one trying to say
but
it's
they're
good.
fans of fighters that give them no reason to be a fan for. Like,
That's what I was gonna say. It's good a fighter that's actually done a lot of things like integrity, like one of the good guys along with Usyk, and you could probably name a couple
I
of
look at
others.
guys like Crawford and Usyk, and I tend to defend those guys
But it's
because of
hard not to defend them.
because
Like,
of
yeah.
what they represent and what they've given to the fans. And I had this conversation with Maestro this morning. Everyone keeps talking about Crawford's resume, right? But let me ask you this: like, who did he not fight that he should have fought? Like at welterweight, he fought Spence. He fought poor.
He fought everyone possible.
So
The
you mad? You
only
mad because he didn't fight Danny Garcia, a guy who
that wasn't even his fault. That was all the
and
people. The
you're mad because he
only
didn't fight a guy like Keith Thurman. But with Keith Thurman's like
yeah, but the
semi-retired out
PBC.
his career. Like he was out for 2 years, 3 years. Like what? Like so
No,
what are you
I
mad
agree,
about?
but the PBC froze him out. I think the one name that Crawford is still irks him is Pacquiao, and that's where I think I can understand because that fight, if it happened, I think top ranked Freddie Roach, Bob, they all didn't
And then
want
I
that
hear
fight to
people
happen.
like Ness and Two Tone complain about him not fighting Boots and him not fighting
These people
Ortiz.
still running with boots, which I don't understand.
Well, like Boots turned the fight down twice, and so did Ortiz. And now you want the guy to go back down to 154 and fight these guys without even their title being on the line?
Ortiz ended up accepting it, but by the time he accepted it, Crawford chose to fight what's it called, Canelo.
They all
So
wanted to fight Crawford when he was a seven-figure fighter. Now they didn't want to fight him when he was a seven-figure fighter. Now all of a sudden they want to fight him because he's an eight-figure fighter. So they're fighting him. They want to cash
yeah,
out.
yeah, they all declined. I really don't understand why Ortiz declined that fight, but I think Golden Boy probably knew what would have happened because he was the WBO interim champion, and then he went down. He went down the WBA route, didn't he? To fight, he was gonna fight Emmanuel Stanionis. So, to me, this is what I don't understand. Like, why Crawford gets such a bad rap. I understand. Look, his resume is probably not as filled as guys like
But
Mayweather
it's
or
the
some of that.
best. But it's the best it could be given his.
But I think he's got a better argument to be ranked higher than guys like Oscar De La Hoya, because I've seen De La Hoya coming out, and I was just thinking about this the other day, and Oscar lost most of his biggest fights. Crawford didn't. Crawford accomplished more. Crawford was undisputed. Oscar was never undisputed. Oscar, people say he got a couple of decisions against him, but he also got a couple of gifts. I believe he got a gift against Sturm when he moved up.
Yeah.
He got folded by Hopkins, so that was his Canelo
Some
fight
people
where
think he lost to Whitaker. Some people think he lost to.
Whitaker was one of his best wins. That's dubious. And then the Ike fight, I believe, as well. That was
Yeah.
so. You break down his resume. To me, a guy like Oscar is in the same ballpark with Canelo. Like I'm not going to argue either way, but they are a level below Crawford. To me, Crawford's on the same level as Mayweather, guys like that. Like Ray Leonard, you could argue as well. Although I've seen
As much as I like and respect Canelo, he's a severely overrated fighter. That doesn't mean he's not great, but he's just overrated. Like he's just these people like brag about his resume so much.
I thought his resume, yes, especially super middleweight, was always overrated. Like these guys saying he was the greatest. I always thought Joe Calzaghe and
like you
Andre Ward.
like the Billy Joe Saunders fight. Like Billy Joe Saunders won a vacant title. He had one
Sufi against a guy
had
called
like two
Sufi,
fights at super middleweight.
and he hasn't fought since then.
I
I
give him
don't.
credit for the Caleb Smith fight, but again, Caleb Smith was really a light
No,
heavyweight.
the reason I would give him credit for the Callum Smith fight is that win aged well. The Caleb
Yeah.
Plant win was horrible. The Caleb Plant win aged horribly. The guy lost to Resendiz, got battered by David Benavidez, and I believe has done nothing but just beaten Anthony Durrell. He went life and
Yeah.
death with 11. He went life and death with a guy
Billy Joe
called.
Saunders win didn't age well, and neither did the Caleb Plant.
None of them. Rocky Fielding, guys like that.
Rocky
Yildirim,
Fielding.
these
Yildirim.
guys were not good fighters. The Golovkin third.
I would argue Crawford's last six opponents are better than Canelo's last six opponents.
No, Canelo's resume has been awful in the last 5 years. But the reason I would give Crawford a lot of credit for the win is because of all the factors Crawford had to overcome. He was 37 or 8. The last time someone moved up 2 divisions directly at that age was, I think, Hopkins when he beat Tava. He had never fought middleweight to super middleweight, one fight 54. Whatever we say, Canelo was undefeated at that weight and hadn't lost for like 4 or 5 years, I think.
And are we just going to forget and not remember when he fought Golovkin, when he fought Cotto, when he fought Mosley?
I wasn't really mad at the first Golovkin fight because I think some people go over the top. Like I think that fight could have happened 1 year earlier, but
No, it could have happened about a year and a half earlier. But
it couldn't, because here's why. Because Canelo beat Cotto in November 2015. Golovkin beat Lemieux a month earlier. They could have fought in 2016. People will say they could have happened in May, but that fight was always going to be on a September. They had 3 fights so September 2016 they could have fought. They could have had one more fight in May when I think Canelo.
It was about close to a year and a half.
I would say a year. September 2016 should have been the date. That should have been the cutoff date.
Yeah, but he allowed himself to get stripped.
But what I'm trying to say, when they fought. The year they fought, the time they fought, there was at least a year. Like,
can I ask you an honest question?
Yeah.
If Gennady Golovkin knocks Danny Jacobs out in 2 rounds, does Canelo fight him?
I would go back one further. If Gennady Golovkin knocked out Cal Brook in 2 rounds, I don't think Danny Jacobs would have fought. And I'll tell you why, because I was at that fight, and that's when I said Golovkin's slipping. So this is something someone mentioned. I remember a guy called Jimmy. He even said the reason Canelo took the fight was because of the Jacobs fight, how that played out. So what you're saying is true.
Said.
And
That's what
then,
I
but
said.
that the reason Jacobs took that fight was because of the Brook fight. So they both probably would not have fought him. Yeah. I personally think that they did age Golovkin out at least by a year.
Did Canelo get the best version of Golovkin in your?
No.
I
They
don't.
definitely did.
And then it's so controversial when you say it because you know.
But here's what I will defend. Canelo was not a middleweight for that long. Like the guys that were at middleweight, Peter Quillen, those guys should be criticized more because Canelo did end up fighting him two or
Oh,
three times.
nobody fought Golovkin at middleweight, but the fact
Yeah,
that
but that's
Golovkin
what I'm
didn't
trying
want
to
to fight
say.
the fact that Golovkin didn't want to fight Andre Ward kind of was a little bit suspect too, though.
To me, with that, I disagree because Andre Ward was not really fighting or active, and here's where I will. Tom Loeffler even said that HBO offered HBO had the fight on the table for no HBO had the fight on the table for Ward because you got to mute the guy's background noise. Well, they had a fight for Ward against Edwin Rodriguez, and Tom Loeffler said he put Golovkin's name forward, but HBO overruled that fight because they said they didn't want Triple G to fight Ward because they wanted Triple G to fight Canelo. So
Listen
that
to this
fight,
one. Listen to this one. Did Bud get the best version of Canelo? No. Did Canelo get the best version of Bud? No.
no, because Bud wanted to
Here's
fight
the
him
you
in
guys gotta
2023.
stop with this bullshit now because here's the thing. An athlete's physical prime is in between 27 and 32 years old. You're talking about guys who are 35-year-old guys who are fighting 38-year-old guys. Both guys aren't in their primes.
Yeah, but this is the problem though. Bud wanted to fight Canelo in 2023 after the Spence fight. Like, look, I don't blame Canelo, but at the same time, you can't blame a violin because Canelo chose to fight Munguia. He chose to fight Belanga. The skull fight, all right, fair enough. That was because it was for undisputed, but he chose to fight those guys. He even chose to fight Charlo instead of Benavides. So, that's a lot of background
Bud
noise.
can never
Who
be an
was
Babe,
all-time great
babe,
because he never defended the undisputed belts. Case closed.
babe.
And go ahead.
So I just wanted to go back. Finish your point. I just wanted to go back to the Jake Paul thing real quick, but finish your point.
So Bud can never be considered an all-time great because he never defended undisputed. So Floyd Mayweather never defended undisputed either. Can he be considered an all-time
Floyd
great?
Mayweather wasn't even undisputed in one
I mean,
division.
again, like you guys can do. We can. People want to
It
keep.
is nitpicking
People
to
want
me
to keep
that
with the cope. You want to keep trying to cope. You want to do mental gymnastics. That's fine. I mean,
no, but it's nitpicking to me because
it's disingenuous to be honest. It's
you
just
could say that.
disingenuous. I
You
mean,
could say
I don't.
that. But here's the thing:
Mad.
I
You're
will.
just mad because the guy you wanted to win didn't win, and you're upset. It's okay.
Yeah, it's a case closed. That's it. The guy lost. Move on.
You just got
But
to deal with it, man.
But
Like,
this is what I
I
don't understand. Before that fight, all these same guys were saying Canelo's going to win by stoppage.
listen. Here's the problem. This is the big problem I have. People that were picking Canelo, they were doing it with such confidence, and they were acting like it was like an 80-20 fight, right?
Yeah,
On,
yeah.
on paper, the odds told you it was a 60-40 fight in Canelo's favor, right? People that were picking Canelo, you heard goofballs on here. There's no way Canelo loses this fight. Like again, it was a 60-40 fight on paper. And people were like, there's no way Canelo loses this fight. It's like, what do you mean there's no way Canelo loses this fight? People were talking about it like this was like Canelo was like a fucking 20-1 favorite or some shit. Like he had
like he like
come on, it was like
like he
it
was
was
a
always a competitive fight on paper. Stop.
Here's another thing with this whole thing. These are all the same guys that was saying before the fight, if Madrimov could do this, Madrimov could do that, what's Canelo going to do? They kept bringing up that fight. Now, one of them have managed to mention that fight now. They have completely Like, stop talking about the Madrimov fight. Like, to me, they were using everything in that fight to diminish his chances, and then once he wins, now they're trying to diminish this victory, and is to me is like a lot of double standards from guys who got it wrong. Like, it's okay to get predictions wrong, but then don't, like,
If you were to pick
contradict yourself.
if you were to pick fights every week, every fight on the schedule, right? You're going to be wrong at least half the time. Just the way it is. You
Beep.
got to accept it. Go ahead.
All right. So I want to get back to the Jake Paul thing
Okay.
because I seen, we've been seeing almost kind of like people on two camps, and it's like, of course I would have I would have taken $90 million to get knocked out by AJ, and you have another camp that is kind of giving Jake Paul the credit for getting inside of the ring with AJ. Where are you with that? Because I don't think I've
I'll be honest
I
with
heard
you.
you kind of.
I'll be honest with you. I think Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul are two of the smartest marketing geniuses I've ever seen in my life. And whether I
Maybe
love or
this
hate,
reminds me of me as the McGregor. Sorry, got it.
whether I love or hate a person, one thing I do give credit for is excellence. There's girls that I've met that I think are beautiful, but they're the most horrible personalities in the world. It doesn't mean I'm going to tell you you're not physically attractive. It doesn't even mean I may not even go out with you a few times to see if I can, get what I need. But at the end of the day, I got to tell the truth, even when it hurts. And it doesn't really hurt in this sense, but I'm just saying, people like Lou DiBella, they want to go on Twitter and they want to like get angry about this. It's like, Lou, stop looking at this in the same lens that you would look at a Crawford versus Canelo.
But did you see
Just accept it.
Sorry,
And
can
then
I
no
say?
disrespect to Paulie Malignaggi. I like Paulie Malignaggi. I think Paulie Malignaggi is a fighter who has gotten every bit of potential humanly possible out of his body, given what he was given, right, and born with, right? But is he really the person to criticize anyone for being evasive in the ring? Did he ever fight? And again, I'm not here to knock him because he's probably kicked the shit out of me.
That's what I was thinking. This is like a
He
polyball
probably
Nazi
kicked the
fight.
shit out of me, and I could only dream of doing what he's done in his career and his life. I'm not knocking him, but I just find it ironic that a guy who fought like Malignaggi, right, all of a sudden is going to act like he was like a Toro Gotti when he fought, and he's going to criticize Jake Paul.
What about Sergio Mora as well? I think.
Sergio Mora is another guy.
Can I let me give you
Like,
guys my.
did you ever see Sergio Mora fight Shane Mosley? And did you hear what he even said at the end of the fight? He's like, "Oh, if he was my idol, I didn't want to hurt him." Like, come on, Sergio, stop it,
Can
sir.
I
And I like Sergio too.
let me give you guys my 2 cents about this whole thing. So we have practically and I'm not trying to be too harsh, but the has-beens, the old school guard of boxers, and plus the hardcore boxers who still look at boxing with the old school mentality,
Well, it's
where
called nostalgia. It's called nostalgia.
people they're still trying to appreciate, the skills and the hard work and the determination that comes with boxing. And we're in a new age where attention is currency. And one of the things that Jake Paul has managed to do is actually garner the attention of the masses by actually bringing not just attention, but bringing Netflix into the table. Because prior to him, Netflix wasn't even in the picture. When he fought Mike Tyson, I had people that I had never heard from that I didn't even know if they followed boxing. They were asking me about, well, are you watching the fight? Who you think is gonna win? Like, are you serious? So
And
the fact
most
Jake
of the
Paul
most of the
managed
celebrities,
to
most of the celebrities out there right now, you know what they're saying? Oh, what a heart Jake Paul has, right? What
yeah,
courage it
I
took to
mean,
do that.
I
And
think
guess
we you
what?
need to
And
I mean,
start
he
listening.
even has guys like You and Raphael and Hamid believing that Joshua went 100% on him. This is genius.
Joshua was at his absolute prime. That was the best
This is
decision of
this is this is
2000.
marketing genius. He even convinced you guys.
Listen, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, it was Jake Paul that pretty much put or raised up his value to get those $90 million. Because if it was for all those fighters, like for example, Abdullah Mason, the kid can fucking box his ass off. Like the guy's really good. You have all these fighters, they're really good, but you put a mic in front of him, what is he gonna say? He's saying all the right things that the old school guard wants you to say. He's a respectful kid. He's saying all the right things, but saying all the right things is not gonna get you paid at the end of the day. You know, you see practically Devin Haney getting paid because his dad has a mic in front of him and makes him dislikeful. At the end of the day, you gotta put people's attention on top of you in order to get paid. Regardless of how Jake did it, whether you want to call it a clown show or not, he raised his value enough to have Canelo sit on the other side of the table, even though it didn't go through.
Great point. Yeah.
Tank to actually sign a contract to fight Jake Paul, and 3 actually get in the ring with AJ. So everybody gotta give Jake Paul practically
Can I tell you
credit for
something
that,
else?
The
regardless of how the fight turned out.
Can I
the
tell you
only guy
something
that
else?
Bill,
Can I
I
tell
say
you something
something?
else real quick? Go ahead. I'm sorry, Hamid. I
All
keep
right, the
interrupting you. Go ahead.
only guy that hasn't entertained Jake Paul for some reason is Mayweather. And I'm not a fan of Mayweather's clown shows, but I would have paid to, or I would have been interested in that fight a couple of
See,
years
they
ago.
got you, Hamid. They
No,
got
I'm saying,
Hamid. They
no,
got
but
Hamid right where they want him.
here's what I was trying
They
to say.
got him.
He fought Mayweather fought his brother, but I thought a couple of years ago that would have been interesting because Mike Tyson ended up, even fighting him. I know he was almost 60, but I'm saying all these guys who have got like high profiles or got some sort of marquee name, like whether it's right now or in the past, they've all like tried to fight him or fought him. And Mayweather was the only guy. I was a bit surprised, but Mayweather did fight his brother. Maybe he just didn't want to fight him because maybe Jake would have wanted a licensed fight, but I agree with what Thing is saying. I think you could argue he's the face of American boxing. As bad as maybe you think he is as an actual boxer or you don't take him seriously, right now, is there a more popular active American boxer? I don't think there is.
There isn't. He's the most popular American boxer
It's not.
in the
They
world
don't.
right now, without question. He's on he's the only American boxer, I think, on the Forbes list too, if I'm not mistaken. But Crawford will be. See, people don't understand that the Forbes list is from June of 2000 of the year before to June of the following year. That's how they do it. They don't do
Yeah,
it.
do you? Crawford is offered the fight, but he turned down. Do you think Canelo should fight him? Because Canelo, some people are saying, could go on undisputed run.
Can I explain something to you?
Yeah.
What you saw last night, almost in my opinion, and this is going to sound extremely hyperbolic. What you saw last night, right? Almost close to 100% guarantees that Canelo will fight him at some point. Yes.
I want to see the fight.
Yes. You know why? Because Anthony Joshua, as ridiculous as this may sound, actually gave Jake Paul to some degree legitimacy.
Yeah.
He gave him legitimacy because you can't say he never fought a real fighter. And this isn't even just a real fighter. This is a former 2-time unified heavyweight champion of the world, a guy who outweighed him by close to 30 pounds, a guy who was 6 inches taller than him, a guy who allegedly broke his jaw, right?
What weight will they do that fight at, though? Canelo
They'll do it at cruiserweight.
The bad thing will be, though, Canelo is saying David Benavidez is too big. And someone mentioned this. He did try and negotiate in a fight with Jake Paul. So if he ends up going through with it, it's gonna look bad. But I don't think
Canelo had the contract on his desk in front of him on a table. He had the pen in his hand. And then Turki Al-Sheikh called him up and said, "Hey, whoa," and he didn't sign the contract. Right?
I'm glad Canelo didn't fight him back then because he was the undisputed
I'm almost
champion.
guarantee.
Right now, right now, I will give guys like AJ and even Canelo a pass because they're not active champions. With Tank, I was not happy because Tank hasn't fought most of the guys in his era, or the guys in his, his contemporaries, and he was an active world champion. So if Canelo ends up fighting him, to me, that's just Canelo then coming towards the end of his career and cashing out.
The way Tank was acting during the build up to that fight with Jake Paul, did it even seem like he even wanted the fight?
I think he wanted the payday. I don't know about the actual fight because of it
Did,
wasn't going to
did
be
he
a nice
actually
fight.
seem like he was really into it though?
I just think thing is saying Devin Haney does it. Tank has never had Tank has always had Mayweather and Elena Delaby and those guys be his mouthpieces. And right now, I don't think they're on good terms, and the whole situation was kind of muddled up. So I just think that's how Tank is. Like, to me, Tank has never been a trash talker. Like, I think. To me, I think he did want the fight. Like, because
Listen,
how he's crashed out.
Tank is a good fighter. I'm not going to say he's not a good fighter. I just don't like the guy.
I don't like no, but I do think you
I don't
wanted
like the
that
guy.
fight. I think you wanted that fight because you would not agree to that fight and wait for it to get plugged.
I thought he was having buyer's remorse. They were starting to complain about the weight. They were starting to complain about the gloves.
I never heard about that. Is that actually
Beep.
true? I did.
Then he shut down his social media. He was horrible at the
He got
press
run
conference.
off. He got run off on social media because of the fact that he chose to fight him, and then
He was
people are saying,
and then he was like horrible at the press conferences, and
Beep.
I don't know, man. Go ahead.
Do you know why Turkey intervened in that Canelo Jake Paul fight from happening?
I have my opinion, but I don't know 100%.
Well, what's your opinion? What's your opinion on that?
I believe what he said. I think he thought that if he fought Jake Paul, it would take away from the fight with Crawford.
So do you remember when the Ryan Garcia Tank fight happened?
Yes.
It made, I think it generated around like 1.3 million pay-per-view buys, right?
Yeah, close to that. Yeah.
And after the fight was over, regardless of how much views and money it made, the what we heard was, well, that was just the appetizer. The real fight is coming in July with Crawford and Spence. That's the real fight.
Correct.
And it didn't even break 1 million. Imagine if Jake.
I'm not going to sneeze. I'm not going to sneeze at what that fight did. It did 700,000 pay-per-view buys.
I think it's 600,000. Was it?
No, 700.
Imagine if Jake Paul would have gotten in the ring with Canelo, what that would have done to Canelo versus Crawford. It would have dwarfed that fight.
Jake Paul versus Canelo is the closest thing to Tyson versus Jake Paul.
Yeah, 100%.
The closest thing.
It would have.
It's not the same, but it's the closest thing.
It would have.
My opinion.
On pay-per-view, I think that would do good numbers on pay-per-view as well.
Yeah, pay-per-view's dead, my friend. We got Netflix now. We got Netflix.
No, but he said that a couple of years ago when they were gonna fight.
Yeah, but but we're not even gonna bring up pay-per-view. I hate pay-per-view.
No, but I'm saying that fight with Canelo when Jake Paul would have dwarfed Crawford Spence fight as well.
Would have done over 1 million at least.
Yeah, it would have done
maybe 1.5. Could have done.
It would have done probably more than the Ryan Garcia and
could have
done
fight. Could have done 1.5.
Canelo done good numbers with Berlanga.
Listen, you're never going to get an argument out of me about Canelo's marketability or AJ's marketability.
I do think Jake Paul has kind of made he's kind of exposed the boxing business, especially the American.
The boxing business itself has exposed the boxing business.
But it's taken Jake Paul to actually expose it. Go on.
You anyone that wants to brag about the zone without realizing that at one point they were $1.4 trillion in the hole. Now they're at like $936 million in the hole after being in business for over close to 8 years now. They've yet to turn a profit. And again, Len Blavatnik doesn't give a shit. He makes most of his money on energy through gas and oil and other things, right? So people don't understand that boxing is like filler content for a lot of these networks and these broadcasters. And for some of the people like Turki Al-Sheikh and Len Blavatnik, it's almost like a hobby to them, like it's an interest. They don't do it as a means to make money. They do it because they're interested in it, because they enjoy it and they like it. It's like a rich guy that buys an art collection. And now, in most cases, he could make money on it. But even cars, when a guy has like 200 cars, cars aren't cars and jewelry. People don't make money off that usually. In most cases they depreciate in value. But rich people will collect them just because they like them. They're interested in it.
Babe,
So
I gotta agree with you, but I think Netflix should be the future. I don't know if they'll go into boxing. I gotta go in a minute. I just wanted to
yeah, I
see
got to go in a
what
minute too.
Raf wanted to say about the thing,
Close
because
this
I
out.
think,
Close
I
this out,
think,
Raph. Close this
yeah,
out,
because I
Raph.
think Jake Paul exposed the boxing business, especially American boxing.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel exactly the same way. I mean, after what we saw, um, practically Canelo do with Benavides and run away, practically come up with every excuse in the book that you haven't done anything and just practically expose himself. And we seen practically what Jake Paul is doing. You don't really need skills to sell in boxing. You know that's practically what has happened with Jake Paul. You just need to have someone that can market himself. Look at Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is a perfect example of that. You know, the guy's not the greatest boxer in the world, and he generates money because people want to see him get knocked out, or he has a cult following that wants to see him win.
That's true.
Also, one thing before I go, with this, I think even though he's lost, I think this will just open up more avenues, like because a lot of people are giving him credit.
This is this
So
was this was a great move for him because now this legitimizes him.
yeah, that's a good point, by
This
the way.
legitimizes him. Last thing before we go. Anyone gonna watch that Andrew Tate fight tonight?
Nah, nah, nah.
No? Okay.
Not a big fan of that guy, but
All right. Assalamu alaikum, my brothers. And we'll
all right,
see
all right,
we'll see you later, man.
all right, good show, good show.
All right, guys. Take care.